here at Chiquette's. We see the dining room tonight. We do have a couple tables available, so you know what? You want to try your paella today at home, then try my paella tonight. You're more than welcome to. Should be fun. Anyway, so today's Hunter's Paella is one of my winter paellas. I do serve it sometimes during the summer, and I do a couple different little twists with it. But this is pretty awesome here. So we're doing a paella Hunters, and I'm the one that named it that because I wanted to name it something that made sense to me. So, here we go with all the ingredients here. We have a paella pan, we have salt, olive oil, chicken, garlic, tomato, and tomato sweet paprika. The tomato, garlic, and sweet paprika is what we call a sofrito. We have some lima beans here. We have rice. We have asparagus. We have broth. We have duck confit, and we have foie. Okay. The duck confit, we pre-prepared it. We confit the duck in the oven for like 3 to 4 hours on a slow cook. And we just added some little bit of additional duck fat, some olive oil, and some salt. Very simple recipe, and you know, just to make sure that the duck is nice and tender. And here we go. So we can go ahead and get started here. We want to put the fire in about 70%. So those of you that's cooking with wood fire at home, this is what 70% looks like. Put it on top here, and we add the olive oil here. Not too much on this one. Add some salt.
Okay, so
and we go ahead and add the chicken. So the chicken here, and spread it out. Okay, so we want, so far the only thing that we did was add the chicken to 7% heat with some olive oil and some salt. Okay. And we are on this one. We are trying to brown the chicken. So that means that the chicken's fully cooked. We use dark meat because it does not get as dry as white meat does. And actually, seems like I have a little too much fire, so slow it down for myself here a little bit. When you're dealing with wood fire, sometimes it's impressive of how much fire it really does take. So here I am, browning the chicken. All right, this is one of my favorite paellas because it kind of started with using duck confit with fideuà paellas. Instead of rice, we use noodles. So duck confit and foie were one of the principal ingredients. And you know, when using rice, I added some alterations to it to make a little bit more sense. So here I have the chicken already going. Now I'm going to add the lima beans. Now, these were originally dry, and we hydrate them for half a day. And then we went ahead and boiled it for about 45 minutes before now we're adding it. And now we go to one of the principal aspects of a paella, which is the sofrito, which is different from Latin America and other areas where the word sofrito is used, even in other parts of Spain. But when it comes down to a paella, we use tomato, garlic, and sweet paprika. And those three ingredients constitute the sofrito, and we cook it in with the chicken. Okay, so we cook it down, All right. Next thing we do after we cook it down is we add the broth. Since I'm doing a paella for one, I put about 1.5 cups in. And I'm going to put a little bit more this time just in case, because to make sure that you guys don't fall too behind with me. And as soon as I put the broth in, I'm going to bring it actually into the highest heat possible. So that's when you turn your stoves on to high heat.
Danny, question for you.
Yeah.
My chicken still seems, I mean, it's brown on the outside, but it's pretty clearly nowhere near cooked. Is that where we should be as far as the chicken goes, or am I too low?
That's okay. That's okay. I would cook it a little further down. You do want it to be cooked at the end of the day, because that way it's not that I'm scared of it not being cooked, but it's more a factor that we need to give a little bit more flavor to the broth, even though you guys have chicken broth here. So we want to make sure we cook a little bit more. So we'll be waiting here. That's why I purposely add a little bit more broth to make sure that, give you guys time to catch up. So cook the chicken, add the lima beans, add the sofrito, the tomato, garlic, and sweet paprika. And then now we add the broth. We add a little bit of saffron. A little bit goes a long way. Okay. And now we bring it to high heat. So yes, cook the chicken thoroughly, brown it. When you do get the broth and saffron in, that's when you bring it to high heat.
Do we use all the saffron you gave us, or?
If I portioned it out for you, yes.
Okay.
Because I did it based on how many servings you guys have.
I'm sorry, how much chicken broth did you say per cup and a half?
So basically, it's we have the rice is 1/2 cup per person.
Okay.
So it's a 3-to-1 ratio in terms of the broth. So 1/2 cup is 1.5 cups. 2 people would be a full cup, and 3 cups of broth.
Okay.
So, Rob, since you're cooking for 3, it would be 4.5 cups of broth.
And this is when you put the broth in, you put the saffron in. Is that what you said?
Yes, the broth and the saffron is correct.
And then crank it.
All right, so we're bringing this to high heat. Now, right now, we should have only salt, rice, asparagus, duck, and foie left over. Okay?
Which one is that?
All right. So now that we have it on high heat, and it's been boiling for a minute. Now this is when we add the rice. And you go ahead and start making sure that the rice is evenly distributed throughout the bottom of the pan. So you're not really stirring. You will never stir. Here is more of a just placing of it. So I added the rice, and there's some chicken on here. So whenever you see the rice, jump on top of the chicken, say bad rice, go back down to the bottom, and make sure that the rice gets put in. So this is not a covered rice cooking. It's an open rice cooking. So you want to make sure that the rice is within the bottom of the paella pan, like a layer of sand on the bottom of the ocean.
$44.
Speaking of sand and ocean, wouldn't it be nice to be in the summer or somewhere in the Caribbean right now? It would be nice. All right, so here we have basically the rice been put in. So we have 10 minutes on high heat, 7 minutes on medium heat, and 1 minute on high at the end to create the caramelization on the bottom. Even on this paella per se, we're not looking for the caramelization to actually happen. It's okay if it does, but I'd rather not. When you have the oil from the olive oil from the fat from the chicken, fat from and the oils from the duck, it creates a lot of fat, good, delicious fat and oil. So you have to be careful not to burn this one. So on this specific paella, we're not necessarily looking for the sucker rods on the bottom for those reasons. Okay, so here we have it. And then the medium heat is what we define as a simmer. I'm gonna put this a little bit more wood here. All right, so the rice has been in for a minute, so now it comes to key test. We added salt when it came to seasoning the chicken, and the broth has a little salt on its own, but now we're gonna taste it. We're gonna take a little bit, take a spoon, and we're gonna taste to see the level of salt. I think it needs a little bit more. So it should be like a slightly salted chicken broth, you know, when you, because the rice is gonna absorb and become perfectly seasoned. So we wanna make sure that it's slightly salted, not too much. So it should be still within your comfort zone, but slightly outside, because that will create the perfect seasoned rice. All right. Okay, so right now we have only, now I'm satisfied with the salt. We have these 3 ingredients left over: the duck and the foie and the asparagus. Okay, so about halfway through the when it's starting to boil, we want to add a little bit of duck to make sure we get a little bit of that flavor in on top. Okay. All right, so we added a duck confit to it. So that's going to help with the flavors. And now we only have these last 2, the asparagus and the foie. The foie I'm actually going to put here to the side so it doesn't melt down close to the fire. Oh, look what happened. The rice jumped on top of the chicken. We may say bad rice. Go back down.
I'll get some of that going on.
All right. Well, as soon as you start seeing, you know, one thing to understand that you guys, every kitchen, every fire is a little different. I have here the ability to create 1,000 degrees at any given moment to my paella because of solid fuel from the wood fire. And, you know, so when do you have a simmer? When you start seeing the rice. When you start seeing the rice like this present, that's when you know that you're at a nice simmer, and you need to have it like this for 7 minutes. Okay. So I had it on high. Now we're at a simmer, and now we're enjoying it. So, you know, it's Saturday. You know, maybe you're working, maybe you're not. Maybe you're working a little labor. Maybe you want to have a little bit more fun while you work. Maybe it's a good time to crack open a beverage, you know, while at this juncture, while this is cooking. So, and what kind of wine recommendations here? You know, when you have duck and foie and chicken, it's hard to stay away from like a good Pinot. Oregon Pinot, Burgundy, or even California. I love them all, personally. If you're looking for Spanish wine, we don't necessarily do Pinot, we do Tempranillo. That's a really good one. Also, never be afraid to, you know, stand up to a strong wine like a Monastrell from Alicante, where I'm from. you know, somehow wines from the region where the food is from, always a great idea. Also, beer is always a good option. I love beer.
Well, Sherry always told me a good recipe starts with wine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. So now we're seeing a little bit of a simmer, and it's cooking nicely. So this, you know, for me would be an equivalent of minute number 15. So, you know, I still have about 2 to 3 minutes. So that's when I'm going to put the asparagus. I chopped it out like this because it, you know, I'm adding it. I like to have texture. When I use vegetables, I like texture. You know, I don't want mushy vegetables. So I put it here as a sprinkle at the end, and you know, the steam will finish cooking it out perfectly. Okay. Oh, that smell. Cameraman Sam is saying, "Oh my God, this looks so good. It smells so good." He wants some. I think he's gonna eat this paella today. Well, it's finishing up here strong. So, for those of you who have a blowtorch at home, do exactly as I do. For those of you who don't do what I'm doing right now. So, I would cut your foie at minute around 17 and slice it on top of the rice. Okay, so that for the last 30 seconds to a minute, it absorbs. For those who do have a blowtorch at home, like we do here in the restaurant, you can do what I'm about to do. So right here, we have a little high heat coming. It's a little perfect here. It's looking great. I like, you know, I can tell that the rice is at the perfect, you know, al dente structure that I enjoy, that we enjoy here in Valencia. And yeah, I'm about to take it off. So if your paella looks like this, you're in a good state. You can already put your slices of foie on top of the rice. And you can see right here how I do it. Take your foie, do slices, and, you know, put it on top. There you go. And, you know, if still had a couple minutes, you know, a minute to cook, the foie would melt into the rice, which would be perfect here because we have blowtorch. So make sure it's covered. There we go. There we go. And, you know, since I am a salty person, so I've been told, now I am going to put a little more salt on top of the foie because I like flavor. Never be afraid of flavor. And here we go. So here's my hunter's paella. Also, if you have it, black truffles, white truffles would be amazing to also put on this paella. You know, not a bad idea. So this is your hunter's paella for one. And, you know, from our wood fire kitchen here in Chiquette. And just so you know, last night they decided, the mayor, you know, to close the indoor dining and restaurants to up until January 15, kind of hurting restaurants' New Year's Eve plans. Right now, we have a lot of offerings for you guys in terms of to go, not only for Christmas, but for New Year's. Please check up and continue to support us. And, you know, we do have a couple tables left tonight and a couple tables, you know, until the 23rd. If you want to join us, you know, we're happy to serve you here in the dining room, Chiquette. We also have our sister restaurant downstairs, Slate Wine Bar, a little bit less formal, but we also have an awesome new cocktail and wine experience to be enjoyed at the bar. And, you know, we're doing what we love here, which is cook, you know, show off our culture here with our cuisine and hospitality. So thank you so much for joining us. I'll open it up to some last minute questions, and thank you.
I forgot to mix in a couple of ingredients myself. I guess I just throw them in now.
All right. Any last minute questions?
I think I'm a little behind you, but I think I've caught up.
Danny,
Yes.
what was the there was a in addition to the sofrito, there was like a container of reds, not the paprika, it was like a wet red thing. What was that?
The tomato puree?
Oh, that was tomato puree. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought that was the entirety of the sofrito, so I'm just mixing in the paprika now, and we'll see how this comes out.
Okay. Awesome.
Hopefully, it doesn't ruin it too badly.
Now, is this one of these dishes that you can come back to like in an hour and it'll be better?
Yes and no. I mean, it's when we do here things in the restaurant. So here, I would say after a couple of minutes, it consolidates all the flavors, so to speak.
Right.
I don't think it needs an extra 2 hours.
Okay.
Once I take it off the fire, it stays here to repose,
Okay.
for a couple of minutes. It's Spanish. It needs a siesta. It doesn't need an overnight stay.
Okay. My mother-in-law's just off camera with a fork in her hand.
She's not trying to stab you, is she, Rob?
No. I'm standing between her and
And so they're back from their walk?
I don't think they've left yet. They're waiting for me to do
I
this.
see. I see.
And then probably eat and then maybe take a walk tomorrow.
Sounds civilized.
We're nothing but civilized, Sherry. You know that.
I know.
And was the broth just plain chicken broth, or is there anything special mixed in?
It is chicken broth. If I told you all my secrets, I would have to kill you.
So it's special chicken broth. You just won't tell me what's special about it. Okay.
It's made with love over wood fire.
It's made with an I'm too lazy to make homemade chicken broth at home anyway.
Looks pretty good over there, Chef.
Awesome.
I was just gonna call you out, Kyle. For you've been quiet this whole time. How's it going?
Yeah, well, I've done enough of these classes, so I decided to let my roommate do one. He's working right now.
Fantastic. How's it going over there, you guys?
We're doing
Near
great.
completion? Okay.
Sounds like that. It's funny. The dog is all ready for scraps. I dropped some. I was cutting up the foie, and I dropped some on my shoe.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's not the ingredient to drop.
No, it was funny though. He didn't mind at all.
Yeah, good day for your dog.
Yeah, right.
And Rob, a few minutes ago, you said you were was a little behind. How are you progressing?
Oh, I think I'm caught up. Yeah. Everything
Okay.
looks like it's absorbing nicely and it looks pretty good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But how soupy should it be? I mean, should it be soupy at all?
No, it should be.
We'll have some absorbing to do on the rice. What kind of
Okay.
rice?
So what you received should be bomba rice.
Okay.
Bomba.
Bomba.
You know why it's called bomba rice? Anybody? Anybody want to know why it's called bomba rice?
Sure.
Because it's the bomb.
Oh.
Because it's very circular, so that's why it's called bomba. To be actual. But I like my answer better.
Is this
All right, that's
ready
enough
to-
comedy.
Is it used for
I'm
anything
sorry?
other than paella?
I'm sorry?
Is it used for anything other than paella?
Well, the reason why I use bomba rice for paella is because it's harder to penetrate, in terms, so it's harder to overcook. So it holds out in terms of the integrity of the rice. So if you have a dish that needs like that you want rice in, but it's a longer cooking process, bomba rice is ideal for that type of situation. Here in the restaurant, we actually use senya. So I buy bomba for my classes, and I buy senya for us. It's because senya gets the most flavor, but it is and I'm actually able to control it better here at the restaurant. And since I'm the one cooking it, I'm okay with it. But if I had a restaurant of 500 seats, and even if it was me cooking, I would use bomba because didn't want to leave things to chance. But when I have 14 seats in the dining room, I think I can manage with senya rice to get you the extra flavor that's penetrated.
And when did you say you'll be closing for the mayor's shutdown?
The DC, according to DC government, pending any potential possible hopeful lawsuits towards DC government, it would be December 23rd at 10 p.m., right in time for Christmas.
Jeez.
Yes. So you want to see me in action? Tonight's a good night. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Oh, not Thursday. Thursday's Christmas Eve, right? Yeah, Thursday. Wednesday's the end. So you got 3 nights to see me in action.
And Adam, I haven't checked in with you. How's your paella progressing?
It's looking good. The late addition of the paprika, when I looked up and saw that I still had those containers, but it still smells good. So
Okay,
we'll see.
fingers crossed. I'm sure it'll still be delicious.
I didn't realize those were in 3 different containers.
All right. We shall be Gucci. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Logging off here for a minute.
Okay, well, so I'm not sure where you all are in your final processes. As I said, it was 7 or 10 minutes on high for the boil, then 7 minutes for the simmer. At the end of that, so whatever you're finished with the simmers, we should be when most of your broth is absorbed, and it's that last minute on the high heat, just to give it the final blast. And the last 30 seconds of that is when Chef recommended adding the sliced foie gras on top to get a little bit of a melt. If all of you are comfortable with where you are and how to finish that off, we will leave you to it, and so that when you're finished, you can just go straight into eating your meal if you wish. If you're not comfortable with that, I'm happy to stay on for another few minutes. So,
I think I just need to get a bottle of wine.
I'll be over in 10 minutes, Rob.
Okay, you know where I live.
Okay,
The
Adam, are
asparagus
you?
goes in at that last minute, right? The asparagus.
Yes, the asparagus goes on top about like when there's just a couple minutes left. Where do I have? Yeah, when there's like 2 to 3 minutes left in your simmers, I sprinkle the asparagus on top. So at that point, it has a couple minutes to steam and cook.
Gotcha. Might have done that high for too long. Oh, well.
Okay. Well, you can just reduce the amount of time that you simmer. You just want to make sure that you don't.
Oh, no. The last high.
Oh, the last high. Okay. All right. So you've done your final minute. It sounds like you're about ready to let it have a quick siesta and then enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to blowtorch.
Oh, you have a fancy.
Home Depot. Father's Day sale. Works for plumbing too. Maybe. I don't do plumbing.
Are you still boiling down, Rob?
Huh?
Are you still simmering?
Oh no, it's pretty much absorbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then are you doing your final minute? So you also sound like you're almost ready to eat. Oh, it's looking good. Fantastic.
Yeah, I've tasted it. It's like the seasoning's right.
The season is.
Yeah, and I used all the garlic.
Oh well, I mean, I would use all the garlic as well,
Yeah.
but I'm a garlic fiend.
Right.
Maybe that's why I don't have so many friends. Okay, well then, it sounds like if going once, going twice, sounds like you're all ooh nice blowtorch there, Adam. You're not kidding.
Yeah.
That's not even a kitchen blowtorch. That's
Sorry.
a serious.
Afraid to use that.
That's a serious piece of equipment there.
Sorry for the flex.
Okay.
So I'll have to let them in and
Do you,
they're
do you
they're
have to let them in? Are you asking me?
no, I just think they're salivating here.
Gotcha. Well, please don't. I'm gonna go ahead, and it sounds like Adam. Are you okay if we? All right, Kyle. I think you guys are good. I'm gonna go ahead and end it on our end. Please have a wonderful lunch and a wonderful holidays. And again, thank you all so much for joining us today. Keep an eye out for other class offerings. We'd love to see you back again. Thanks so much, Rob.
Sherry, could you send me his link
Yes, absolutely, I will. Oops, sorry, what?
to the restaurant?
Yes.
And then
I'll send
the class scheduler stuff is under that?
Yes, we don't have our January classes scheduled yet.
I'll have it so I can.
But yeah, I'll pester you. You'll hear from me, Rob. Don't worry.
Oh.
When you put out the schedules for each month?
We got kind of out of sync in December just with all of the private classes and events that we've been doing. Typically, we've been doing every other Wednesday. This is our first time doing a Saturday lunch, which seems to be working out. And with the restaurant closure, we might actually adjust how often and when we're scheduling these. So that's kind of in flux at the moment to roundabout answer there, Adam.
Well, we'd love to learn more different ones of these. So.
Okay. Well, I will. I'll make sure that you are included in notifications when those class schedules come out.
Please do.
Absolutely. Thank you all again. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye.